Today I want to talk about when work friends, so-called friends, become a liability. Your work friends can become your biggest liability, not because they're evil, not because they hate you, but because when the company starts protecting itself, they protect their paycheck, not your friendship. Let's talk about why that happens, how it blindsides employees, and what you can do right now to keep from becoming your own worst enemy at work. Before I get into it, I'll remind you to please hit the like button if you like my content. If you have not subscribed, please do so. It makes a big difference in helping me continue bringing content like this. All right, let's get into it. Let's start by talking about the myth of the work bestie. A lot of employees get pulled into this trap. You find yourself someone that you get along with really well. You eat lunch together. You complain about your boss together. You trauma bond over meetings. You share personal things, etc., etc. And over time, you start believing this person is a friend, not a coworker. Now, let me tell you the reality of that. Most workplace friendships are conditional on the job, conditional on the environment and the circumstances. And when the circumstances change, when there's an investigation, when leadership starts asking questions and HR starts gathering information, that friendship shifts real fast. You're playing friendship, but the company is playing risk management. And your work friend will be recruited to help with that. So now let me tell you why work friends become liabilities. When you overshare with coworkers, your stress, your personal struggles, your frustration with management, your intentions to complain, your plans to leave the company, and so on and so forth, you're giving people access to information that can be weaponized later. And here's the part people never expect. Your friend doesn't have to betray you, not intentionally anyway. The company just has to ask them a few questions, or print out a few messages, or remind them that their cooperation will help the team. Now, I've represented employees who were completely blindsided when their friends became witnesses for the company. And man, that happens all the time. Again, not because they're malicious, but because they were strategic. When HR calls them into a room, shuts the door, and says, "We need you to confirm something," their priority shifts from friendship to self-preservation. So let me tell you something about how people are shot more specifically. Now, I see cases, and more than a handful, where the employee was shut down before the case even got started. Now, that's because the company got wind of the complaint early. Employees talking too much. So what did the company do? They started investigating. They gathered every coworker the person had ever talked to, every so-called friend they confided in, and required them to sign statements refuting the employee's claims. Not one statement, but a whole stack of them. Now, this is done before the employee even files the lawsuit, before they even get a chance to get the case started, before they even realize the company knows what's going on. And the message is clear. We have witnesses, so don't even try it. I mean, that's just an awful thing to have your case shut down before it even gets started because they pull in all of your so-called friends from work and have them sign affidavits. I mean, what are they going to do? Is their job or your friendship? You know what they're going to decide. The statements that the company gets your coworkers to sign against you come from the same people you went to lunch with, the same ones you vented to. Those people you trusted. And again, they didn't betray you personally. They're protecting their jobs. They're protecting their families. And depending on how valuable the company sees their cooperation, they might even get a raise or promotion out of the deal. This is not about loyalty. It's about survival. And, another tactic that they use, if they can't get the coworkers to say anything substantive about you, then what they'll have them say is they don't know anything. So if nothing else, it neutralizes them. So they think that you are going to try and get a lot of people to testify on your behalf. They'll go ahead and pull that rug from under you, because if they get statements from everybody at a minimum saying they don't know anything, there goes your witnesses. So that's why you don't tell them anything. So oversharing with your workplace friends really helps the company build their defense. The more you share with coworkers, the more the company has access to information that can work against you. So every time you said, I'm thinking about filing a complaint, or I'm so stressed at home, et cetera, you'll have to think about that, because when you're getting ready to file a lawsuit, you'll talk to your lawyer about everything that you have said to everyone, and you just don't know if it's going to come back to bite you. And you know what? Most of the time it does. Just depends on the company. Some companies are really vindictive, and those are the ones who will pull in all of your coworkers as soon as you file suit and start harassing them. Again, trying to get them to testify against you. Your lawsuit is not their priority, not the priority of your coworkers. And your job security does not outweigh their own. It never will. Again, it's not personal. It's how the game is played. And you have to think about, what would you do in that situation? It's, a lot more difficult than you think. And I guess you can say it's really easy. I mean, lose your job, or at a minimum feel threatened about how your job might proceed if you don't sign an affidavit that your company is asking you to sign. People just really feel like they don't have a choice. So how do you protect yourself going forward? Work friendships can be real. And I know I'm going to have people say, no, my best friend, I worked with my friend. I hear you. So I'll acknowledge work friendships can be real, but they are rarely unconditional. So you have to treat them with boundaries. It's just a different situation. Work friendships. I guess you could say no friendships are unconditional, but this one the fact that it's unconditional can impact your livelihood. So that's a big difference. So, recognize that, okay, we're friends, but it's conditional. The job gets in the way, things change. The other thing you should do is never share anything at work that could be used to question your credibility. Not your stress, not your plans, not your frustrations, and certainly not your intentions to seek legal help. Keep your personal life personal. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to open up to feel connected. Keep your circle tight outside of work. And personally, I keep my circle tight, period. Document everything. Your notes will protect you far more than your work friend ever could. And remember this, you never know when a workplace friend might become a workplace witness, not because they turned on you, but because the company told them to. So here's your takeaway. Be friendly, be professional, be pleasant, but protect your business, your peace, and your future, because at work, loyalty shifts when job security enters the room. And the people you overshare with today might be the same people that HR hands a pen to tomorrow. See you next shift.